I saw Godzilla last night.
How was it? Because I know you saw it in 4DX, and
I did see it in
I
4DX.
imagine that you've not recovered fully from it.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster in 4DX. Almost like you're fighting for your life. Like, it's just, the chair is just trying to get you non-stop. And it's weird sensations as well. Like, I guess it's not much of a minor spoiler, but when Godzilla chomps on people, the back of the chair has something that jams into your back to give the sensation. So you're kind of like,
incredible. I'm hearing like nothing but like positive like feedback about Godzilla, how it's like setting a new standard for Hollywood.
Yes.
In what movies can be. Because obviously, like, it really feels like just from like what I've read and what I've watched in terms of like promotional stuff, it really seems like they decided to go back to Godzilla's roots and like what made those old movies like good and feel like amazing. So
yeah, it is very much Godzilla is a like disaster movie, if you know what I mean. Like but at the same time there's like this incredible story about PTSD from World War II and all these other like themes that help underline it.
And I suppose
really
it's set obviously in a time where obviously Japan's like had to like forfeit a lot of its like military rights, hasn't it, because of the everything that happened in World War II. So it leaves a lot of room for like a lot of interesting storytelling, I imagine, because obviously, how do you combat the giant radioactive king of monsters when like you have been disarmed?
Yeah it's and you know, almost like for some soldiers the war never ends for them, like they still and Godzilla is like that metaphor of like the war is still going against this natural disaster or such. But yeah, really good. The best atomic blast I've seen, like hands down, incredible.
I'm gonna try and make some time to see it. Like if it's still about in the new year, I'm absolutely gonna go and make some time to see it. Maybe not in 4DX. Maybe I don't subject myself to that. But definitely, I think it's definitely worth a watch. I'm excited for it. If I don't get to see it in the cinema, I will be like, I'll probably like grab it on Blu-ray or something. Definitely seems like worth having. Just out of curiosity, obviously this might go into spoiler territory, but it does it. I believe from the trailers, it does like start to address Monarch a little bit.
That might be the Godzilla TV show.
Oh, okay.
Because this is Toei's Godzilla, so it's completely
separate to the MonsterVerse.
Yeah, the stuff that Warner Brothers has been doing.
No, that's fair. I did wonder if that would be the case. To be fair, but I did wonder like maybe this is going to be one of those things where they have a very loose tie to it and stuff like that.
I see. Yeah, no, this is similarly, Toei did Godzilla Shin.
Oh like, yeah, Shin Godzilla, absolutely monstrous portrayal. And when I say monstrous, I don't mean like bad. I mean like that was like the eldritch horror of like Godzilla, seeing this like fish like Godzilla crawling along the streets, bleeding out of every orifice.
Yeah. So that one's really cool. But I watched a few interviews after as well, and apparently the director has a history of working in visual arts. So even he was like hands-on with touching up you know, Godzilla's like skin texture and like, you know, the scales and stuff. And some people are like spoken like a true visual artist, like when they get behind deadlines and stuff, he's jumping in and like working overtime, which is again a credit to how well this movie just visually looks as well. So yeah, it's really cool.
Do they use a
really,
is
really
there do they have like kind of like an old film filter, like sort of filter effect on it?
No, I wouldn't say so.
It does look like, just from what I've seen, it looks like very bleak. Like there's less color in the world, but obviously this was like post-war Japan, so it's a very different like experience.
Today, we are going to talk about 2023 and to just kind of talk about some highlights. Really, I think you put it best by saying this is our flashback episode.
This is where we will just cut like, honestly, if we had prepared for this better, we could have just like done a whole episode of like very anime-esque like cutbacks to previous episodes and just do a clip show.
Yeah. The best bits of Undisputed.
Yeah.
But no, today we thought it would just be cool to talk about, you know, standout moments, things that we really liked from this year, and so forth. Really. Yeah. Is there anything you want to kick things off with?
Well, I mean, this might be like jumping ahead in the whole scheme of things, but obviously this year for me, it was Baby's first convention.
Yes.
And stuff. Obviously, we had MCM London 2023. Absolutely incredible experience. It's just it looks like, from everything I've seen and followed over the years, it just looks like these conventions are getting better and better. They're getting, every single year, they're getting bigger names in. Like more people are hype about the industry than ever before. It's like it's incredible to see how far, like, because, you know, conventions used to be one of those things where it's like you'd see it portrayed in like media as like, oh, the nerds are all going there, and now it's like the nerds are like the cool kids, you know?
Yeah, and there's almost like something for everyone at conventions now. Like as you rightly said, the anime manga space has really grown in presence at things like MCM Comic Con. Early in the year, there's a new convention, AnimeCon UK, which was really cool. But not just that, there's like, if you have other interests, like I like Doctor Who, there was this little section for Doctor Who. There's a section for D&D, as we saw at MCM. There was a big presence for D&D this year at MCM, wasn't there?
D&D. But it's also amazing to just see how it's become less a thing for the you know, the secluded nerd alone in his bedroom with his like statue collection. Like it's amazing to go to a space like this now, and like it was never like this when we were younger. But you see kids, like young kids, like running around in cosplay, and they've brought their parents have come along, and their parents are like doing like a soft cosplay, or they've done like a full cosplay to like better their child's experience. Like it was insane to see like how big, like, this isn't just like something that you go to on your own now. This is like a family event for some people. This is like something that big groups of friends decide to go to, and like you just make a whole weekend of it. Obviously we went, like we had an absolutely cracking time. Like we obviously got there, we went from day 2 onwards. Felt like I could have stayed there for another week if it had gone on for that long, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's fantastic experience, really fantastic. And like I've been to a few cons now, so I've been to like the Birmingham one and more local cons as well, because we did Cardiff last year, didn't we?
We did do Cardiff, and obviously that was on a much smaller scale. It was a good con, but obviously it wasn't a con in the way the MCM was, because I don't think they had like any huge celebos on like doing panels and stuff like that. It really felt more like a fan con. It felt like it was for the fans to just gather and like be nerdy with each other and like, you know, that sort of thing. Not bad, just different.
Just different, absolutely. But I guess that's a great way to kind of build your expectations in a way, if you know what I mean. Like, go to these local ones, get a taste of what a con experience is probably like, and then go for a bigger con like MCM, Anime Con, and so forth. So, I think I had a great time. I thought it was a blast.
Great. I mean, obviously it wasn't the end of the year. It was obviously back in October, but like still, what an incredible way to like kind of like start capping off the year before we got into like the holidays and stuff. So
that's true.
10 out of 10 will do again. Not would do, will do.
Absolutely. When we spoke about doing this episode, one thing that kind of jumped to my mind really early on was the manga space. Like, I know we've recently had stats and figures around, you know, the top manga of the year and all sorts, and sales and everything, but I can't help ignore two things that kind of makes me think of 2023. So the first one is the absolute hype around Kauribatichi.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. 100% agree.
Like, I've never experienced anything like it before, where it's just like, before the actual first chapter came out and it's just artwork, everyone's like, manga of the year, anime of the year, like.
and that's, it's wild to say, like, that's something wild to say before something's even been like released. And even now it's only like it's not a huge way in. Obviously we're getting more or less weekly releases for it. The chapters aren't like incredibly long, obviously, as you'd expect with a weekly, but they've condensed a lot of story into the chapters that are out so far, and I've been really, really enjoying it. It's absolutely gonna very quickly get an anime announcement. It's just 100%. The question is now is like, who's gonna get it? Because I get the feeling that the Mappa CEO is probably like rubbing his hands together. He's like, oh, we're gonna get a hold of that. But given all of the controversy, obviously we can discuss that later on in the episode. I don't know whether or not it'll be something that the author, the artist, like actually would be okay with, like, which is to say, I know nothing about the industry at large, so I don't know if they would actually get a say in what studio actually takes it on. But you know, they're definitely someone whoever wants it is gonna be fighting for it.
100%. Yeah, I look forward to that announcement. I think it'll do well once it gets adapted. But again, I can't remember the last time there was so much hype around a manga before it had been, you know, released or publicized or anything.
It's like you're hearing stuff like the next, like, this is the next Bleach. This is gonna be like One Piece level of hype.
Yeah, this manga saved my life.
That was clearly like pasted over a TikTok.
In a thumbnail somewhere. Yeah. The other thing that kind of stood out to me this year was, again, slight spoilers for JJK anime watchers, but for us manga readers, the Sukuna versus Gojo fight. I swear it got to a point like every week, I don't know how, but I was seeing leaks, I was seeing fan theories, I was seeing like all sorts, and it kind of just took me back in some ways to our early days where we would go on these forum sites and talk about who's Toby, or
who is Toby? Is he Madara?
You know, how Ichigo would defeat Aizen and all this other stuff. So yeah, it kind of took me back to those days, but of course it's a lot more accessible now. There's, you know, Twitter was suggesting things and all sorts, but that fight was incredible. Like, I really loved it.
It's really wild. Like, obviously this wasn't this year, but it's wild how such a negative thing like you're probably gonna have to bleep that out, aren't you? Don't think you're allowed to talk about that on YouTube. But it's weird that like how a pandemic is what came as such a boon for anime and for manga. Like, it's literally it's absolutely. I have no doubt that the industry would have continued to grow, but it obviously exploded as a result of the pandemic. Like, more people than ever were starting to indulge in these things that they had never considered in the past. Like, I mean, apparently the market value of the industry at the moment in 2023 is like 13.58 billion.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is a absolutely insane amount of money. So, you know, we're still. I think that while it was negative, like, the industry has still benefited from everything that happened. Which feels a bit icky to say, but you know, like that, like, it opened the door for so many people to get involved, and that's only continued. And the more people who get involved, the more good stuff we get, and we've seen that over the course of the year.
Yeah, it's I think when me and my wife went to New York Comic Con, we sat in on a One Piece panel, and they said the amount of people that started to watch One Piece because they were staying at home and everything else. And I don't know if that was just because they either thought now was a great time to jump into One Piece, or they had left it and decided to come back. Either way, the uptake in and popularity of One Piece just seemed to go into a new level and break a ceiling. So yeah, that, and they were kind of alluding to that may be some of the momentum into One Piece Red as well. Like, a lot of people caught up and again binged it, and then, hey, One Piece Red is coming out. It seemed like the perfect opportunity to capitalize on those new fans and stuff.
Yeah, and absolutely, when you actually break One Piece Red down, since we're talking about One Piece, like, you can really see how they. It's like a menagerie of the best bits of One Piece in a movie. Like, they brought in Shanks, they brought in his crew. You have all these faces from previous arcs showing up on this island, and stuff. Like, it wasn't like they had created a self-contained space. They had basically created something which could, in a lot of ways, be considered to be canon. It's obviously not been mentioned again. We've not heard it mentioned in the manga and such, so we don't. But obviously, the fact that the where it is placed and how the characters, the way they talk about things going on in the world, it's like you're kind of like, well, this could absolutely be, because especially because of the way that it ends as well. They obviously they didn't leave it open ended with a character who we then have to, like, explain why that character hasn't been seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I suppose that kind of leads on nicely as well to the fact that we had the live action One Piece this year.
And boy, the hype around the hype and the speculation around the live action all year. I'm guilty of being, like, you know, pessimistic about it. Like, the moment that it got announced, I was like, how is this gonna even work as a live action? Like, how are they going to do it justice? Obviously, Netflix is doing it again. They've just, like, they've obviously did Cowboy Bebop, which didn't get quite the the hype that they wanted it to get, which is a shame.
Mm.
So imagine my surprise when I watched the first episode of the live action One Piece, and I loved every single moment of it.
Yeah, it is sensational. And I think that comes down to the casting. Like, I think the writing, the direction was very good. I think they really did they cherry picked some of the best moments out of those handful of arcs, and kind of put them together and stuff in the way they had. And I think it definitely worked to its strengths and such.
Yeah. And I imagine sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, but I really feel the magic comes from the casting.
They have such good chemistry, and they like I follow a load of them on the social medias, and you can really see that they actually all genuinely like love the franchise. It's so refreshing to see them putting so much into it. Like, I obviously Taz, who plays Sanji, like, you see how much work he put in as an actor to do Sanji justice. He's become like an incredible like martial artist through this, and he also learned how to be like a professional cook. And he was like cooking the cast and crew meals like on a semi-regular basis so that he could do Sanji justice.
Committed to the art.
Yeah, I watched some of the videos of him training or him cooking, and I'm like, this is insane. Because then you're like, obviously there was a little bit of wire work done, but this is him. This is him doing this. Obviously, and we'll also never get over the fact that they made Sanji a roadman.
Yes. Yeah. It works. Does it work? I guess so.
It does.
It
absolutely works. I love
So yeah, that was this year. Again, fantastic. I don't think we've had any word of a season 2 yet.
Not yet.
Or no, we have, haven't we? They said they're writing?
They are writing, but I think that it came quite late on because of the strikes. The writer strikes and the actor strikes that were going on over the course of this year. There was obviously a lot. Obviously, One Piece came out, but no one was. It had already they'd finished like the filming and stuff by the time the strikes had started, so it could still release, but none of the actors were talking about it and such. It was because that was crazy. Like, the strikes ended, and then all of a sudden, all the actors and people involved were like, here's all this incredible stuff from when we were working on the show. And,
yeah. So no, it's good, and I'm glad it's as successful as it is.
It's just another entry. It's just another entryway into anime for people, because if the live action does well, but people are who aren't watching it are much more likely to just pick it up on like Netflix, and then like, okay, well, I really enjoyed this. Where can I see where this is from?
More. Yeah.
And then they get involved there. So that's just that's a boon to us as well. And obviously, thank you to Oda-san, who obviously played a huge part in the live action, and made sure that they did it justice.
Yeah. Yes. Fantastic work. As I skim through bits and pieces, again, it's kind of a dumb thing to highlight, but can we not forget the JJK breakup outside of a KFC?
No. It's always incredibly fun to see when like animators or like artists like take a lot of care and they add in places which mirror real life. I think that's one of the reasons why Golden Winds JoJo is so hugely popular, because like you can literally everywhere they go to. In fact, even in
Stardust Crusaders.
Yeah, Stardust Crusaders. Like they're going to so many places that are completely real in the world that now people go to those places to like because they're like, this was in JoJo, this was in JJK, and obviously JJK is set in Tokyo, so it's great to see them having done it so much justice in that, like they're gonna like show exactly what it is like. They should like Shibuya, like seeing it animated to this degree is like absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible.
There's so many memes from this season, isn't there? Like the KFC breakup, the malevolent kitchen subbing, which is
that'll go down
brilliant.
in history. Either the person who did that got fired, or they got promotion.
Yeah, or someone was lazy and tried to use AI. That's the only other thing I could think of.
Well, AI don't know nothing about curse techniques. So
obviously,
but obviously, like this season of JJK has been like absolutely filled with like great good stuff, despite the controversies considering work conditions. Like we recently obviously got like the My Hero Academia like reference added in.
Yes, yeah,
stuff absolutely incredible to see. Like, and also seeing it dubbed over. Like I've seen it like people like pasting in like the All Might dub over the top of it and stuff. It is
with the music and everything. Yeah, it's been a great season. Any other sort of highlights or anything that comes to mind for you?
Just looking back, obviously we had. Let me just put it back. We had a load of great animes come out this year. We had Hell's Paradise.
Yeah.
We had big events. We had the culmination of Ash Ketchum's story as a Pokemon trainer. He finally did it. He finally did it, guys.
25 years?
25 years. He's still, 10 years old?
Still
looking
10 years old.
better than ever. Gods, we had the second season of Thousand Year Blood War. Still incredible. Still doing it justice. Gods. It's weird because I know that there's so much good stuff that happened this year, but it's like actually making a list of it. Gear Fifth.
Yes. Yeah.
Gear Fifth. Arguably one of the most hype moments in recent history in anime. People were waiting for weeks and weeks for this to come out, and honestly, I don't think they could have done any better.
It was worth the wait, especially the talent of the animators and everything else, and just kind of just to add to that as well, some of the fights leading up to it. I think about the Zoro fight and the Sanji fight just before that, which were again incredible. But yeah, that transformation, the laugh, and the Looney Tune, like,
it's honestly become iconic. Like I think that in 20 years' time, people will still be talking about Gear Fifth and how incredible that moment was to see animated.
I remember at the time a lot of people comparing it with the Super Saiyan transformation, like how some people may perceive it as better than the first transformation, or sort of thing. The debate, shall I say?
I can get why they would be comparable and stuff, but I think that you also need to consider the fact that like these are like decades apart and stuff, and while they have similar energy, like you couldn't really come in here and say that one is any better than the other fairly, because obviously the Gear Fifth transformation had a lot more technology and technique behind it. But I imagine that's why some people would argue that the original Super Saiyan transformation is better, because they did that without all of that. But I feel like if they were to if we were to see that transformation for the first time again with modern day animation techniques, boy oh boy. It'd be like, obviously, remember how hype it was to obviously see Ultra Instinct for the first time?
Yeah. I remember the hype around that. I don't know if I was bought into it though, as much.
I really enjoyed that whole arc and stuff, but I what I liked about it was I think that they very much handled it in the same way that they handled the lead up to Super Saiyan originally, in that every now and then you get like a little glimpse that there's something more just behind the curtain, and then eventually you actually get it actually happens. I do think the original Super Saiyan transformation is better than the Ultra Instinct one, but I think that by that point everyone's like, oh, it's just another Super Saiyan transformation. You know?
Yeah, I guess that's the only, like, what's the word? Vibe? I don't know. That's the only baggage to it, isn't it? Like, at that point, we'd already seen a handful of transformations.
Yeah.
We even saw Blue and Kaioken mix sort of thing. So it just felt like another arrow in the quiver.
Yeah. And then obviously
at that time.
Yeah, we obviously got Beast Gohan.
Yes.
As well.
Oh, yes. Was that this year? No,
I think that was last year. That was
last year. Yeah.
But like, obviously, you know, we're just talking about Super Saiyan transformations now. We just got on a tangent. Obviously, that was another like that's what you expect of like Dragon Ball Z, though, isn't it? You expect, like, you know, that the moment that a stronger enemy comes along, there's going to be a new level of Super Saiyan or a new technique that someone uses. That's just how shonen manga stories work.
Yeah,
there's always there's power creep upwards. There's always a progressionally strong. Even in One Piece, that's how it has been. It started off as just the basic Gumu Gumu like abilities, and now it's like literally there's all these different forms that he uses in order to overcome
Haki and stuff as well, isn't there?
And Haki's a great power system. So,
what else happened this year? Of course, we saw Demon Slayer come back for the Swordsmith arc, which was fantastic. We've already talked about Hell's Paradise. Mashl's first anime season.
Muscles and Magic, so good. So much fun.
Yeah,
exactly as fun as you'd hope it to be, given how wacky the manga is. I believe that I mean, this isn't like maybe this does credit the popularity, but apparently Blue Lock is the best-selling manga title of the year.
Yes. Yes, I did see the stats on that. Which is crazy, I guess. Like, I think JJK came second. I'm sure it's in the top 3. I think it outperformed My Hero, which I was more surprised about. Well, was I surprised? Maybe.
Yeah. So I can give the top 10 here. So we obviously had at number 1 was Blue Lock, obviously. I'm just going to pull it back just now. At number 2, we had JJK.
Yes.
Number 3, we had One Piece, which is more surprising because I would have expected One Piece to actually come top.
Yeah.
Number 4, we had Oshinoko.
Yes.
Chainsaw Man came at number 5th, which is even more wild to me because I know that there is a lot of division about where Chainsaw Man is currently at. I think a lot of people dropped off after the Chainsaw Man 1 finished, and now we're on to like kind of the Chainsaw Man 2 era. I don't think it's had people drawn in quite as much.
Yeah.
So that's surprising me. We've got Slam Dunk at number 6, a basketball.
Had a movie. Yeah, had a movie this year, so it doesn't surprise me.
This one doesn't strike me as surprising at all. We've got Spy Family at number 7.
Yeah.
Then we had My Hero Academia at number 8. Tokyo Revengers at number 9. and Kingdom at number 10. So maybe not what everyone expected, but I think I think everyone's in the place they need to be because that's where they're meant to be. So that's just how it be, right?
Yeah. No Boruto.
So that is a good talking point. We obviously had the Boruto Shippuden time skip happen. There's been 2 chapters.
Yes.
Both chapters have been absolute bangers so far. But there hasn't been anything for a while. Obviously, Boruto is something that doesn't release on a regular cadence. So who knows when the next chapter will come out. I think that people are going to be a lot more infused about this, about Boruto after the time skip. So
yeah, I feel like, well, one, we know Kishimoto's back. I don't know if he's head writer or it's co-written and such, but we know he's back at some capacity when it comes to Blue Vortex. In my mind, that's amazing because I'm going to keep talking about it, but the one shot he did this year for the Naruto 99, which was all about Minato and everything, I thought was incredible. And I can't wait till that gets printed to buy a copy. But yeah, the fact that he's back on board and working on this, I'm hoping that it kind of gives us a little bit more of that Kishimoto magic that it's kind of missed.
The first thing that you see when you Google who is the writer is a Reddit post which is like every proof that Kishimoto is back writing Boruto. And someone's like they basically categorize every single thing, like, because about that they're like all his writing quirks are here and like you can tell it's him because this is a very Kishimoto thing to do. So gosh. It's just been a wild one. Like I imagine that once this episode ends, I'm going to think of like 10 more other incredible things that happened this year.
It's true. Yeah, there's been it. I think 2023 will be, I don't know, stapled or whatever you want to say. It's been an incredible year for anime. Like even the movie space, the TV space, of course the manga space. Sales have rocketed and such. Just whilst it's on the top of my head, of course, we had the Attack on Titan final this year. We've had the Evangelion 3 point something another this year as well.
2.6 Rebirth.
Remix.
No, that's Attack on Titan.
It's both at this stage. Vinland Saga Season 2. The farming arc, as some may know it, but still incredible writing, incredible storytelling. It's just been an incredible year. As we were currently recording, I think Jump Festa has started because I know I've put a few trailers in our group chat and some other announcements. So it looks like it's going to be 2024 and going to be another incredible year.
Sounds like it. I hope that this episode is a testament to how the Undisputed Anime Podcast is unscripted. We did not have a plan this episode, and thought that like an organic conversation about it would be better. So this has been a journey for us as well, hasn't it? So
yeah, that's true. Like we've kind of been doing this. I usually say this is our 3rd season, but I guess like 3 years or so.
Yeah.
In different variations. Yeah, throughout the years. So and this has been like the most transformative, I think, for the podcast because, like you said, we've been to cons this year. We've had more guests on this year and everything else. So yeah, speaking for myself, thank you for everyone who subscribes, likes, and everything. It leaves a comment. It's always much appreciated. And thanks for listening and watching. Because again, it lets us know that we're doing the right things in the right ways. So
yes, thank you so much. And also thank you. I'm just gonna get gush out here. Thank you to Zane. As you may or may not know, Zane is the one who puts all the work into the podcast. I just show up. I'm the talent, as you will. I just show up and we talk about something that I already really enjoy talking with Zane about. But obviously, thank you, Zane, for bringing me along on this journey. I've obviously had a lot of experiences while doing this podcast, which I would never have gotten if I wasn't. Obviously, like I said, that's not the reason I'm here, though. I'm here because this is basically what we'd be doing anyway.
Exactly.
So, I'm very happy that I took you up on your offer and took over for whoever that previous guy was. Because if you didn't know, I just used to be a regular guest character from a different series.
Yeah. But no, I again, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. And again, if you guys want to be part of the conversation, of course, we'd love to build a community. Follow us on your favorite social media platforms, if that is Facebook or Instagram, Threads, Twitter, wherever it may be. And yeah, we want to hear from you. So make sure to leave a comment, subscribe. This is probably our last episode of this year as well. Probably should have mentioned that at the top of the show. So, oopsie. So yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel, as well as check out all the relevant links in the description down below. I'll probably be doing some clips during the holiday seasons. I'm a bit of a Grinch this time of year, so if anything can take me away from festive activities, I'll do it. So yeah, make sure to again subscribe to the social media channels, because there'll probably be clips going up. And
if you're not a Grinch,
my own channel.
If you're not a Grinch, enjoy it. Enjoy the holidays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's just me. I'm a weirdo like that. I only look forward to Doctor Who this time of year. So, yeah, I will also probably be covering the Jump Festa bits and pieces as well. So make sure to subscribe to my social medias. Again, all linked in the description down below. 2024 is going to be super exciting. So I look forward to that. And I also look forward to playing the new Pokemon DLC, because it's out this week.
That's you. That's going to be you, isn't it? That's absolutely going to be you.
It's going to be me.
So,
with all those starter Pokemons.
Obviously, the date currently is... What's the date currently? It's the... Let's say that it's the 23rd when we're recording this, and this is absolutely not recorded in advance.
Absolutely. Any final words?
Just mirroring what you said. Thank you for people who take the time to listen. Obviously, if you have anything that you'd like us to talk about, please let us know. Every now and then we do have a moment where we're like, what do we talk about this week? So I'd love to tackle some talking points that you guys care about, or even if it's just one of you. Even if it's just one of you, happy to have a discussion, trying to make more effort to watch things that are suggested to me this next year. So like Yu Hakusho.
We didn't even talk about it. Oh my gosh.
Oh, let's speed through. Let's just speed through. First impressions of the live action.
I love it. I think it's great.
Same. I'm remarkably pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed it. Though, disclaimer, I've not read the manga or watched the anime, and I don't know if that's something that would affect my enjoyment of the live action. But as someone who's just watched the live action, really enjoyed it so far. I think it's really wacky and fun.
Yeah, exactly. In terms of my experience, I vaguely remember the anime. Like, it's one of those anime series that if you asked me for details, I couldn't give you. A bit like Tenchi Muyo. I vaguely remember it, but I couldn't tell you any character names or anything. All I remember is him in a house with a bunch of girls. Like, of course, that's what I take away from that.
The original harem.
Yeah. But with Yu Hakusho, I remember the opening. I remember the gang and stuff. But yeah, details escapes me. But again, after watching the first episode of live action, I watched the first episode of the anime. And it's surprising how much they draw from it. So yeah, it seems pretty faithful, I'd say. Not like one for one, but it's pretty faithful so far.
Yeah, I'm this is absolutely something that I'm gonna see through to the end. I did think when I watched it, I was gonna be like, I'll watch the first episode and that'll be me. I'll be done with it. But I've actually already watched episode 2 because I actually, like I said, I really did enjoy how good it was. You might disagree. You might be a hardcore manga fan. You might disagree with how faithful it is or how good it is. I might actually go on to read the manga now. I'm always looking for something to just read, like when I've got some downtime, and that seems like a pretty good thing to do, considering I've actually read every good manhwa out there.
The only other pointer that just came to mind quickly was how graphical it is. Like, not to say like it's a hard R or something, but him getting hit by the truck, I was like, whoa.
Oh yeah, that was a real like unexpectedly visceral thing. Like the sounds
there's
and
no
just
cutaway.
No filter or anything.
Yeah.
So, they didn't
so
even
yeah,
put
that...
like a hentai black bar over him.
Or pixelate it or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was quite surprised at that. I know we spoke about it just before we hit record, but the fight choreograph and the wire work is just exceptional.
Yeah, it's really fun. Like, you can, it's one of those things where you can absolutely tell that it's wire work. Like, obviously you don't see wires or something like that, but it's like, I think that a lot of media that uses wire work for their combat, they try very hard to make it look realistic just outside of the possibilities of being able to be done by a human, whereas this is like, you've got people getting thrown to the floor and then they'll like run sideways along the floor and then back up onto their feet and stuff like that. It just works. It just works.
I love that that, like you say, that unrealistic movement, but can only be done by wire work. A bit like some Power Rangers and is it Takatsu projects and stuff. Some of it I think is I really like the look of it. It's just satisfying.
I think that's very anime though.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So like that's why and I've said this on the show before. My experience with live action adaptations when they're done in the West, it's been pretty negative up until obviously One Piece. But even if it's not been the best stuff, whenever I've watched a live action adaptation which has been made in Japan, I've always really enjoyed it because it's like they're very self-aware of what it is, and they don't try and make it less like cheesy or camp. It is just like, this is how it is in the anime, this is how it is in the manga, that's how it's got to be in the anime. In the live action adaptation. So.
They tend to do a pretty decent job, I find, as well. So yeah, it's good.
Check it out.
Check it out.
I will. I'm gonna finish it off. We can do a full series episodes in the new year at some point. There we go. Write that one down. There we go. 1 episode already in the bag.
Absolutely. Cool. I think that's everything. Again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We super appreciate it. If you have any questions for us you'd like us to read on the show, again, get in touch, leave a comment. Our email address is in the description as well, so yeah, feel free to send them in. We'd love to answer your questions and get your thoughts. But thanks for your time, thanks for listening, and we shall see you in the new year. Bring on 2024.
Happy holidays.
Peace.